In 1917, Russia goes through what's referred to as the Bolshevik Revolution. The Bolshevik Revolution was when Tsar Nicholas II was overthrown by a communist group known as the Bolsheviks, which is a subgroup of the communist movement in Russia. They're led by a guy named Vladimir Lenin. Lenin is going to become the leader of the Communist Party, which essentially makes him a totalitarian authoritarian in the Soviet, what's going to be called the Soviet Union. So Russia drops out of the war because he had promised the people land, bread, and peace, right? The conditions in Russia were awful, and he wanted to focus on Russia. Whoopsie, this leads to a huge civil war within Russia, by the way, where Lenin creates a secret police and implements some pretty terroristic campaigns against anybody that he saw as enemies of the revolution. So instead of land, bread, and peace, what they really got was totalitarian, authoritarian government where people were always scared of the secret police coming to get them. But anyways, once Russia drops out of the war, Wilson is now going to go and say that the war is about making the world safe for democracy, because it's Britain and France both had constitutional democracies. The United States has a constitutional democracy, and they're fighting against Germany and Austria-Hungary, both of which had kings and empires. So now we can say that. And he is going to come to the war with a plan for the peace, hoping that the American involvement is going to end the war more quickly. So he has what's referred to as the 14 points. So guess how many points there are? 14. And most of them you don't need to know. But the main idea is every nation should have self-determination, meaning that Serbia should be able to have a little Serbia if it wants. So all of these nations aren't going to fight because every little ethnicity is going to have its own little country. He also says that there should be freedom of the seas, no more blockades, no more submarine warfare. Everybody should be able to go around on the seas freely. That'll end a lot of the tensions. Free trade, right? No more of these tariffs and no more stopping of other people being able to trade with each other. Notice how that kind of ties in with what got the United States into the war in the first place. And finally, and most importantly for Woodrow Wilson, was this idea of the League of Nations. No more secret alliances, no more backroom deals. We're going to have a League of Nations where people can go and openly negotiate to try to make sure that peaceful negotiations occur and nobody feels like they have to rely on using their militaries. Now, this isn't going to really work out, and we're going to see why, but Wilson gets into the war with his 14 points, hoping to end the conflict. Because Russia has dropped out, the United States now is needed more than ever because all of the focus is on the Western Front now, whereas the Russians had drawn half of the troops from Germany over to the Eastern Front. Now all of those troops are going to be facing the Western Front. So there's going to be a little bit more fighting to go, but the peace is almost won.